All right, hello, Dutch Town Ohana, and welcome back to another recap of PD. We are in the month of March, and we are going through March Madness because it's a lot of things happening, not just on side of our classrooms, but throughout our building. It's events, it's activities, it's games, it's all the things, and you are our key players. So today, as we recap, we are going to look at the starting five players of instructional March Madness. And in any game of basketball, there is a starting five. Those are the people who set off the game. Those are some of your top players within those positions. And today we are going to hone in on what their actual jobs are in each position. So those positions are going to correlate with what we do each and every day in our classrooms and through the times that we're allotted to impact our kids. So sit back, relax, enjoy your recap. While you're doing your recap, you also can get a game plan form either from me or you can print it out on your email, and you can actually take the time to stop in between and write down your reflections of what you do within your classroom after each player is presented. All right, here we go. First person that we need to hear from, or key player that we need today, is our point guard. Okay? So, point guard, please tell us, what is your position?
My position is point guard, and it says often the team's primary ball handler and playmaker. The point guard sets up plays, controls the pace, and facilitates scoring opportunities for teammates. They need excellent passing, dribbling, and decision-making skills.
Okay, key, decision-making skills. You got to set it up. We got to see what is it going to look like. What's the best play to play in this position, okay? You do this each and every day in your regular Tier 1 classroom instruction. You are figuring out what is going to work best for your students, all right? And that's whole group assessing. Now, we can work in this top half of this pyramid and kind of be traditional, but we can work in this bottom half and we can be active, okay? The learning theory pyramid is really going to tell you whatever space that you're working in, you're tailoring your instruction to, it tells you the average retention of that student, right? So for 60 minutes in the top of class, all I did was lecture and let them hear all the great things I know about social studies. Well, they retained 5% of that.
That's right.
They didn't get it. It sounded good, but they didn't really get it. They didn't retain it, okay? Maybe we do a reading. We read it. We didn't go back and annotate it. We didn't talk through the reading. We didn't go paragraph by paragraph. We didn't chunk it. We just read it. 10%, okay? Audio and visual. I showed a video, and them kids like that video, but they didn't do nothing with it.
Oh.
That's what percent?
20.
20%, okay? Demonstration. I demonstrated what I wanted my students to do, but did they do it? No. That's about 30%, okay? Where it starts to get into action is taking some of these things and putting it into application, okay? Discussion group. Maybe I gave them a reading. They then worked on it in this group, this group, this group, and this group. You had a different paragraph, so now you have to tell us about that paragraph, right? And what you got from that. So I took the reading, but then I enhanced it a little bit because now I have some discussion groups. Maybe you had to come up with some questions from your reading, right? So now I'm actually moving down because I wanted to practice by learning or doing, okay? I did a demonstration. My students have to do the demonstration, have to also participate in the lab. And now I not only demonstrated, but I allowed them to do it, right? So now they can practice it and see the process. I can see it, but me doing it is going to show me a different process. So you might present a primary source and give them an analysis, right? But you might allow them to create the analysis. Come on, somebody. All right, so you got to get into that practice by doing. But then you get even deeper with 90% when you start to let students teach others. You have some overachievers in your classroom or students that just grasp the information quickly. Allow them to be able to ones to lead. Maybe you say, you know what, Coach O, I see that you got this. Prepare to do the opening tomorrow. He says, all right, bet. He gets back and he teaches us about a concept because I know that he has it. I've seen that enrichment, right? It's me knowing my students, but it's also allowing them to teach others and teach each other. So that peer conversation is happening. So when you start thinking about how students are learning, You want to make sure they're active and they're doing something, because that's where the action is going to happen. Ms. Winters, what do you have?
Well, in my class, I start out by lecturing because I have to deal with my standards first to let them know what we're going to cover. Because we are a working lab, I model, then I guide them with questions after, and to see what the rights and the wrongs, what took place. So,
Okay.
and this is what we're in the food labs.
Yes, so your mini lesson, and then see when you said lecture, that's really like your mini lesson,
Mini
right?
lesson.
Because you're not doing it for a whole 60 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're you're starting with that. It might be a starter, it might be something that you need this direct instruction. But then eventually I'm gonna move to you being able to do it,
Yes.
okay? So that gradual release process. All right, are we good with about today? I love it. All right, so our shooting guard, who is it? Okay, Dr. Brown, let's hear it.
Typically one of the best scorers on the team. The shooting guard excels at outside shooting, particularly three-pointers and mid-range jump shots. They also play a key role in perimeter defense and create their own shots.
Okay, so keyword, they're a critical piece, right? It's gonna be that piece where we kind of have to have a little bit of versatility, but we also know our sweet spot. As a three-point shooter, you know what area you need to be in to hit that shot. So we have tutorial, right? We figure out what the sweet spot is for our student. Where do I need to hone in on to help my students move, right? That's that one-on-one attention that you're giving the student. They're coming to you, you have a chance to kind of hone in on what they specifically need. It improves the study habits. How? Well, what I do with a whole group, I'm probably not going to do in tutoring because I'm working with you one-on-one. I'm working in small groups, so it's going to look a little different. I might show you how I use flashcards to get my vocabulary together. Now you know the process. You saw the process in tutoring. You can take it back and apply it. It's building that study habit. It encourages freedom to ask questions. I go to tutoring. I get the information. You might even move me ahead just a little bit. Be like, okay, this is what we're doing tomorrow, just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect. Now, when I get into class as a student, I get in class tomorrow, I can kind of speak a little bit more to that language because I knew I showed up for an extra period of time. Now, is tutorial always, well, tutorial should be happening Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why Tuesdays and Thursdays? For the most part, because on Mondays and Fridays, either one, Monday, I'm just trying to get through the rest of the week. Friday, I got other things to do. Your best time to capture kids is during the week, right? So when you're planning for those days, you're not so much planning, well, you want to plan with the student in mind. You want to plan with the time being getting the bang for your buck, okay? It's going to help the student also overcome those learning obstacles, but a tutorial is not completed missing assignments. That is a will, not a skill, right? You had the opportunity to do it, but if I'm taking my time in tutorial, that means that we should be working on a skill. We should not be completing a task. So our next position in our starting five is our small forward. This person is a versatile player who can score from inside and outside, rebound, and defend multiple positions. Small forwards are often authentic and play a crucial role in both offense and defense. We sometimes look at the 45 minutes that start at the beginning of the day as, oh, they skipping, they're not in here. I got 5 kids. I might have a class full depending if I have an AP class, they might all show up at one time. So either way, you should be planning for that time period. You should be planning things that are going to get them up and engaged, right? Or to get them moving, right? Thinking. Start the day off, okay? If I know that I'm coming into a class for a 45-minute session and we're doing something, maybe this is standardly happening every day. Maybe I'm doing stations every single day, right? Because I know that this is helping my kids progress and I know this is going to push my data forward because my stations are data-driven, right? So as you look at that, your 45 minutes should have them doing something that's going to hone in on those skills or either enrich them. So the 3 that we're going to look at that's high leverage is 1, the data-driven power groups. That's a small group. I looked at the data, I figured out the needs of the students. I put them in similar groups, right, for similar needs. So I can work with this group, I can work with this group, I can work with that group. They all 3 need different things, but all the students within that group need the same thing, okay? And then I might rotate and I might do a gradual release, right? That's my basic small group. You can filter this and make this however you need to, but it's gonna best meet the student's needs. The second one is skill building station rotation, okay? I like this one because it's a little bit more of the do, right? You have a teacher-led small group. I'm working with 4 students at a time. We're doing a rotation. Might be working at 2, depending on how the buses are coming in. So I'm dealing with these 2 because I know what their needs are. I've looked at their data, so I'm gonna work with these 2. Then they're gonna switch to the next station. That next station is an independent practice. They don't technically need me. They should be able to do this on their own. When it comes down to our ELCs, you have ISL, you're gonna have progress learning. That's a place for them to actually start working on that material. Or you can have another platform that you might use that's gonna go back and reassess those things. Station 3, we move there, it's a little bit more collaborative, okay? I might act as a teacher, and one of the students might act as a teacher and show the Kahoot game, and the other students are playing and they're tracking that, right? But you also can go back and see it as well, okay? And the last section might be some type of vocabulary review, content summary, or a graphic organizer. It doesn't have to be specifically, but it should be something that they're doing and have to possibly turn in, right? Something that they can have. This could be your writing station. Maybe I need to see how well my students are doing on free responses. So I'm gonna have them write and turn this into me, okay? So it's a smaller station, but it gives them a chance to have something they have to complete. So your station rotation will look like that. Maybe I have a class or students that just need a jump start. They just need to start, right? They need to start something new. Maybe I give them new vocabulary or concepts that we're gonna cover later on. So how do I do that? Well, I put them in a group. I might put them all in one, and I might start introducing new stuff, right? So then, if I have third block today, and then when third block hits, we already covered some of that information in the first 45 minutes of the day. So we're using our time wisely, instructionally focusing. So here's a player that I really like, and that's our power forwards. Our power forward is usually a strong and physical player. The power forward operates in the post and mid-range, contributing to scoring, rebounding, and interior defense. Modern power forwards also need outside shooting ability. So they do a little bit of everything, and they do it at the highest degree. Our review. It's an ongoing process. Now this kind of wraps up a lot of things, right, into one. But the first thing that we always do is we have to introduce. We have to give an introduction. We have to start it off, right? Give the basics of the instruction. Then we gotta practice it, put it into play, okay? How are our students actually grasping the concept? We might be doing gradual release. We might be offering feedback, all right? Then we need to assess it because now we need to know what did they learn. What does that look like? Maybe it's formative, maybe it's summative, but somewhere we're collecting data because data is going to drive what we do when we have to revisit it. When you're revisiting a topic, you have to do it often. It's not a one-stop shop. I can't assume that everybody got it in Unit 1 and then I move on. Everybody's not going to get it in Unit 1. So then I got to figure out how I'm going to put that into play in Unit 2. How I'm going to put it into play for Unit 3. I need to keep seeing it because that's going to build the mastery, right? So I might see it in a warm-up. I might see it in an opening. I might see it in a closing. And so you want to keep going back and incorporating that in future lessons. Even if they do get it, they still need to see it because we don't want to wait to the EOC or the test, EOPA, and now you're just now seeing it again. No. Which should be something that's continuously spiraled, right? So when you're thinking about spiral review, know that it reinforces learning over time. It's not a teach it and forget it. It closes gaps because I'm doing it continuously, and it also builds student confidence, okay? Think about how you do a spiral review within your course.
Reviews like different quizzes and things like that go all the way back to the IPT class, which is the first class. Mm-hmm. As well as like sometimes we reiterate, bring it back in a resume. All of a sudden, I may just say there's a job hiring, they have to create their resume all over again. Because now they've learned different parts of the resume and how to make it better than it did when we first did employability skills at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah.
Center, the tallest player on the team, responsible for protecting the rim, rebounding, and scoring in the basket. Centers dominate in the paint and are essential for interior defense and shot blocking.
We got to block the misconceptions, all right? And we show up during our assessments, whether that be formative or that be summative, right? Mainly formative is when we like, they didn't get it. Let me go back, all right? We have assessment for learning, we have assessment as learning, and we have assessment of learning, okay? Our assessment for learning is that pretest. What do they already know? I might not have to go into that much detail because my students might know some of this, right? So that's my assessment for learning. My assessment as learning is my formative assessment. That's what I'm doing while I'm teaching. I'm going through the process. I'm seeing if they got it. Do I move on? Do I go back? What is it? And my last one is assessment of learning, which is our summative, okay? That's going to tell me what you know and what you grasp. Knowing what to look for and listen for when you're giving an assessment is the biggest. You want to be sure to know what you're looking for and listening for when it comes down to assessment. Are you checking for understanding? Are you trying to see knowledge? Are you trying to see their skills that they grasp? Are you trying to see dispositions? Okay. Then the monitoring documenting is always going to be that moving piece, right? It's going to be able to use throughout whatever assessment. Check for the progress of learning. How did they learn this? Where are we at? What am I doing to monitor that? What does my progress look like? I should know my students. If you continuously are on that beginning level, I should know that, right? So when I'm looking at the assessment, how am I going to get you from beginning to developing? I'm going to keep moving you, right? So knowing your information, that's by documenting, compiling that evidence. Unit 1, beginning. Unit 2, beginning. Unit 3, developing. What was this? Where is it? You got to know that, right? Because that's how you're going to meet the whole child. And it's okay to put a piece of that on them because they should be doing some type of review correction, or they should be going back to look at those assessments because they're the ones learning. So they have to be able to speak to their own data, right? So having those moments for that. Measuring, capture what the students have learned at a particular point in time and analyze the data to inform your teaching. When you are reporting, it can be feedback or it can be feedback. Teachers, last but not least, what does assessment look like in practice? Well, when we think about that overall score, how did you do in the game? We're thinking about what that assessment looks like. This can be summative, this can be formative. It happens often. So when you're looking at how you're assessing students, always think about, are you trying to figure out if they have mastered it? Because that's what our assessments are, right? Whether you're going around assessing a certain question to make sure that every student got the same answer, whether you're doing a whiteboard response and you're seeing it in real time to know what you need to go back, shift, and change, whether you're doing a quick question on the board that has them to have to go in and answer it for you and you be able to address it then and there and make real-time adjustments. That is what assessment looks like. And we're doing it often, and we just have to ensure that we're being intentional about how we're assessing students because the overall goal is to see if they met mastery. So teachers, if it is a time to remember your why and to keep playing this game because we're almost in the fourth quarter, you can feel it. It's spring, it's happening. I'm asking you to remember your why now and keep doing and moving for our students. Score that shot for them. We have milestones right around the corner. We have final exams right around the corner. And we want to see that mastery. We want to be ready for our students to play the next game. And let's keep going so they can win the championship. Teachers, thank you for all that you do. Continue to be awesome. See me if you would like a stress ball, because I have those, an airhead. I had a concession stand. You missed it. Hopefully, if you did come by, it was a little pricey. And I also have some pins for you to remind you of how awesome you are. So stop by and see me. If not, catch me in the hallway, and I'll be sure to stop back by and get you that. All right, have a great one, and thank you for all that you do.